I made this walnut end grain cutting board about 3 years ago for a restaurant. The chef pulled it out and noticed this crack. He asked if I could fix it. With this being heavily oiled at the time, is this fixable or is it a pretty paperweight? I don't even know the answer to this, so let's find out. We do have some serious humidity swings in Alaska, especially in the winter, because I've seen some serious wood movement here, so I'm not sure if it cracked on a weak joint. Regardless, I'm cutting into this thing. Oops, I didn't cut deep enough and I took off my guide rail. And if this ever happens to you, don't freak out, cause I already did that. Aligning your cut line is a pain, and if you don't get it right, your cuts won't be smooth. So just do this. Not this, but this. See? Clean cuts, but the crack was thicker than my saw curve. So what do you do now? I say just creep cut over and over until the crack is gone. Okay, I'm not mad about that. Now repeat on the other half. If you look, the outside edges seem pretty oily, and the middle seems drier, but still oily. My concerns are the glue won't stick nor hold, but we gotta try. So I'm just using French's yellow mustard here, aka Type On 3 in a finger technique. And honestly, I'd rather use a lot more glue than less because I've had some dry glue joints before, and of course it led to failure. I'm using the feel the edges with your finger technique to see how much the board is off. Then using a mallet for a little tap power because you want the board to be somewhat clamped down. That way the board doesn't move on you when you clamp more. If not, you'll get some major wood movement, and that's not good. And to go a little bit further, clamping down the joint will actually help the boards line up better. And you can get rid of the glue however you want. Sometimes I wipe when wet, sometimes I scrape when dry. I'm usually not around when the glue semi-dries to scrape off, so you can do whatever your heart desires. So I've had my Festool Rotex for about 3 years now, and about 2 years, 9 months, and say 10 days later, I've been using it all wrong. I rarely use the aggressive mode, only to really get at some wood. But my buddy Chris Devo told me that I could use that setting all the way up to 220, then switch it to the gentler setting. What? Who knew? I tried on a spare board and it saved me so much time. This may look fun to watch, but it's really not fun to do. The wax and oil gums up the sandpaper so easily, it's rather quite annoying. But if you have one of these rubber blocks, this will help big time. If not, take something like a putty knife to scrape off that gunk, and that should clear up that sandpaper for you. Sometimes I forget what tools I have, so I'm using these to hold down the board. So smart, Sammy. I don't want to bore you with some sanding. So this is what I did. On aggressive mode, I did 80, 120, 180, 220. Then switched it to normal mode and did another pass on 220. Honestly, this is probably one of my favorite parts of any build, is hand sanding the profiles. It's just very satisfying. It's just you and the wood. Reminiscing about all the laughs and arguments during the build, it's like you're one with the wood. It's quite intimate, actually. Since I'm a visual person, I like to use a cutout of my logo I made on my laser for my logo placement. Not sure if this helps anyone, but I find it very helpful. And before Before I get to water popping this board, I switch to my finish sander and do another pass with 220 grit. I know this seems tedious, but trust me, the results are, how you say? Amazing. Water popping will raise the grains on the surface, and once you sand those down, the board will stay smooth after the first wash. Customer equals happy. To knock off those raised grains, which will feel fuzzy, I finish with 320 grit, and trust me, this board will be baby smooth. Epic fail. I lost some cool points here. I didn't have enough oil in the tub to fully submerge this board. Just like most people out there think, this part's the best part, seeing that wood grain pop. And you want to wipe off all the excess oil before applying the wood conditioner. I'm not a direction reader, but I do know that if you warm up the wood conditioner, it penetrates the wood better, which ultimately results in a better product. Well, I'm glad you asked. In my honest opinion, no. All the time spent sanding because of the gunk buildup made it not fun and not worthwhile. However, if this was for a loved one, or maybe if someone paid you enough, it might be. With that said, I feel like it turned out well, and after sitting for about a month, this board seems like it doesn't even know what crack even means.